Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here once again to give another Star Wars Bad Batch review, the second season's third episode, The Solitary Clone. And for those wondering about my avatar, yes, it's different this time as and why it's Crosshair because this episode is solely focused on him. Well, maybe not, but actually another clone is there as well. So the third episode and the first episode that does not have our main regular Bad Batch, instead just solely focusing on Crosshair. Something that fans have been waiting for a long time for this show, but yeah. So anyway, so how does it fill up? How does it go? How is it fill up? Well, we're just about to find out. The episode first begins with this new governor called Groton, who seems to be young, a bit arrogant of himself, and he demands his orders things, arriving on the planet D6 and all that stuff. From my understanding, this is the first appearance of this episode of this planet in any Star Wars canon, as well as its governor, Toana Amas, who was an Imperial. Who was part of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. As the arrogant governor Groton demands that she hands governorship to him, she does not, and summons all the B-1 battle droids they still have to take him, and the sort of pre-stormtroopers, if you will. Hold on. No, that's tactical droids. Hold on. Yeah, the first stormtroopers, if you will. As they're taken away prisoner, and it's we never joined the the separatists. And it's interesting about this character. She seems to be about how Dooku was right about them, and because it's interesting because last episode we got one of Dooku's own people condemning him and his greed for exploiting his own people in a war that cost them even more. But here we have someone that actually believed in Dooku's cause, and a separatist that did believe in Dooku's cause and believed he was right about the Republic all the time, as it became the Galactic Empire and all that stuff. So so it's a sort of interesting way how Dooku has been legacy around. For those, in there are those in the Republic who are now in the Empire that hate him for arguably causing the war and all that stuff. And there are those in the Separatists who hated him for exploiting him, but there are also those that think, you know what? He was actually right about the Republic because it did become the Empire. Now, granted, most of these Separatists probably don't know that he was a Sith Lord that was in league with Darth Sidious, the Emperor of the Galaxy and all that stuff. But who knows whether or not that reputation will ever come to light remains to be seen. I guess it really depends on what we see in the New Republic. But anyway, we're back with Crosshair, who is waking up, who has been now fully recovered from the incident at Kamino. Apparently, he was there for 32 rotations, so I mean probably 32 days. So his loyalty to the Empire is commendable, you could say that. Granted, he's still not well liked by his fellow clowns, as we see two clowns who are chatting about how a new military draft act was shut down and all that stuff, which more clones were kind of hoping for, because I think they got to realize more of these clones are starting to realize they are slowly but surely being replaced, if you will. But it's clear they do not like Crosshair still, and this has always been the case with the Bad Batch, but now Crosshair is alone, and even if Stu alone, he has to report, and Stu is unable to eat his meal. The guy can't catch a break. But then again, this is the path he chose, so yeah. So yeah, I do like how, despite the fact that Crosshair still remains loyal, the rest of the clones do not like him, and all that stuff. At least the majority don't. Anyway, he's here to meet Vice Admiral Rampart, who does not seem to bring up the fact about the false report of the Bad Batch being about. So he's not accusing him of doing any treachery or anything like that, or accusing him of not keeping anything quiet. But He still commends Crosshair for his loyalty, and has given him a mission to rescue the governor by any means necessary, but is not putting him in command, and it's revealed to be none other than Commander Cody. After so many, after so many years, arguably by probably about Revenge of the Sith came about, oh blimey, like 18 years ago and all that stuff. We finally get a post-Revenge the Sith story at canon. Granted, there was like these EU legends where I think he trained future clones and stormtroopers for the Empire and all that stuff. And I think in the new EU for Disney canon, he helped with the occupation or enslavement of the Wookiees. But yeah. But here, I think he's apparently now he'll put in charge of Crosshair, and you have a bit of a reunion. And there's comments about his armor looking different. Besides Crosshair's completely changed his, but Cody is no longer wearing the yellow; it's now all grey, and it kind of just shows you just how much of goes to show you more of like the identity, just how much has been stripped away as the Republic turned the Empire. You no longer have Cody's colorful yellow, as it's now grey and all that stuff. Stripped away. Anyways, show you just how just grim the Empire is, where the color and individuality of the clones have gone, like I've mentioned a few more times here. And like I mentioned last episode with the Bad Batch, just adding more colors to there, so more like a individual identity. But here, Cody is just like lost everything that made him unique about him and his squad. I mean, granted, he still has like the gray colorings in his commander unit, but it's clear that it's no longer the same and all that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting to learn. But yeah, so yeah, he ends up asking about Crosshair about what happened to the rest of his whole clones group defecting. He says that was the case. Even comments about apparently Rex is. Of course, we know that, so that Cody also heard, but can't confirmed. So it's interesting to know because we know that Rex is presumed dead after Order 66 when you try when the whole thing is Ahsoka. But it seems that at least enough communication went through that apparently Rex went AWOL and went and sided with Ahsoka. Meaning that he had his chip removed and all that. At least because he had his chip removed and all that stuff. So yeah. It's interesting that Cody has comments about that, but doesn't seem to give too much emotion about how he feels about Rex apparently going traitor, because arguably Rex was outside of his squad, probably the clone he was closest to, and maybe even the closest to, and arguably like his probably best friend in a similar manner like how Obi-Wan and Anakin were, as of course the two clone groups worked together quite a lot. I mean, they did quite a bit. But yeah, anyway, there to rescue the governor. Let's see, they have their shuttle arrive, but of course the sorry about that. Tanya Honest is not let's see, expect that it's not a negotiation, during which she talks to the governor, which I think that's where the conversation I mentioned a bit earlier happened. And it's interesting to see because you had all the citizens at the beginning of the episode enjoying their farm work, but then running inside in fear when the Imperial arrives. Just kind of shows you how the thing here, but of course, you have them still hiding in their houses here and all that stuff. And you have the clones shuttle shut down. A few of the clones die, including the pilot. There's still enough of the squad to make it in and recover and retrieval thing. During this, you get a few quite cool action scenes like Crosshair distracting a tank. I do like how he ends up missing a few times before finally getting a shot within the tank just as it's about to fire its other cannon thing blowing up, but you can't see the droids with all kinds of guns and rocket launchers. Of course, there's no super battle droids here, but there's B1s, droidicas, the tactical droid, and of course the advanced B1 advanced. Let's see. Oh no, let me just remember let me just get what they're called up. Droids. Let's see, droid commandos. Let's see, so yeah. during the whole fight, Cody Crosshair's group is split into like two other clones. One's called Wyler, and the other is called Nova. Two clones that we never heard the names of, but you can't really tell individually who they are because of the white armor. The only thing that's differentiating them is that Wyler's carrying a flamethrower and Nova's carrying explosives. Wyler gets killed off when they fight the Droidekas, meaning that they can use the flamethrower and all that stuff. During this bit of the fight, let's see, Cody and Crosshair meet some citizens where Cody tries to say, it's okay, we're here to help and all that stuff. The citizens like, no, stay away. Because not only are these separatist citizens, but they're also fought against the Republic, but they're also opposed to the Empire. It shows a good stark contrast where Cody is probably used to being the sort of good guy, helping civilians and all that stuff, but here he's the invader and the citizens do not like him, and it sort of builds on a bit to what comes later in the episode and all that stuff. And I do like that sort of contrast. Cody is probably not quite used to this. But yeah, eventually I think Wyler ends up getting killed when I think eventually they cross counters with super battle droids, but there are quite a few droidekas that killed. But see, there was at least one droid, one iconic death I remember when one B1 got shot and he just fell into the droideka's force field and exploding. But yeah, it's quite good, a bit of fighting in the scene, particularly during the stairway thing, where you have Crosshair with a sort of mirror-like shoot things, takes a few of the B1s down, but needs to get to the tactical droid and trusts Cody to throw as far as he can, and he does, and ends up killing the tactical droid. I want to admit that was quite a good shot and quite a nice homage to like the first story arc that we saw, the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars, and where we had that sort of like mirror shot taking out an entire legion. Where it's like, Records complaining about, Crosshair topped me, and let's see, Hunter said, you get better next, you're doing better next time, and then Crosshair's like, nah, you won't. Let's see. It's a bit shame that we never got that second story arc of the Bad Batch and Kashyyyk, because we could have seen more of the banter of this clone group before the Empire and all that stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a flashback episode telling those episodes, but for now, we'll have to wait and see. It's stuck with this at the moment, but yeah. So yeah, eventually, let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned about half the squad end up dying in the crash, but you see the others taking out some of the droids, and they take out the remaining ones and all that stuff. But yeah, eventually they are able to meet where the separatist governor Tawan Arnis and her hostage, gritty Governor Groton is, and all that stuff. But yeah, and there's a sort of a standpoint. She tries to get the clones and the empires to leave. And have this place be recognized as an independent system. Cody tries to persuade her not to and all that stuff, and saying that they just want here to create peace. But of course, she doesn't buy it because her friend Nix Botany tried to do a peace treaty, but she ended up being killed, and Palpatine declined the treaty in the end, as we saw earlier and all that stuff. She realized then that peace was never an option. Let's do this war, but Cody ends up trying to persuade her, and sort of does by talking about how we both came out of one war and all that stuff. Let's see, there's too many lives been lost. Let's see, don't have any more of your people's life does, and it seems that she seems to listen to her as he drops his gun, removes his helmet and all that stuff, and even Crosshair lowers his gun down, but notice lowers, but yeah. But as she let go of the governor, Groton demands her execution, but Cody rejects this order, saying that he promised her peace. You got to stare down between the three of them and all that stuff. But eventually, the Tuani saying that she was correct, Commander. Peace was never really an option. Let's see, and but before anything can happen, before Cody can do anything, Crosshair shoots and kills the governor. Let's see, as Cody looks down at her body and all that stuff. Let's see. upset and disgusted by what's happened, while Grotton's showing how much of a scumbag he really is. And I do hope that if he ever appears again, someone shoots him. Because what he does is next is like, let's see, clearly a war crime, and he demands that her body be hanged as an example for the rest of the citizens to realize what happens when you defy the Empire. And yeah, let's see, but it's a horrible act, but it does go to show just how horrible the Empire really is. I do like it when the Star Wars shows just how horrible the Empire is. Granted, we don't see the body, let's see, being hanged, which is, I think, probably, let's see, probably good for an animated show. But yeah. But anyway, you see, let's see, as the situation's been taken care of, you see citizens being rounded up by Imperial soldiers, the stormtroopers, not the clones. You do see some of the clone squads there being taken back from the wounded with some of the stormtroopers and all that stuff. With Cody and Crosshair. But Cody stops a bit to look around the occupation and to have a look at, let's see, the new governor as they look at each other. Seemingly him indifferent to like Cody now, but Cody clearly looking serious about what has happened to this planet. And they arrive back, and Cody talks about ask Crosshair the question: is the Empire really making a difference? But Crosshair is like, we're soldiers, we do what needs to be done. And Cody comments about how, the one thing that was different between them and the clones and the droids is that they were able to make their own choices and live with the consequences. And this is clearly signs that he is regretting his actions. Crosshair, perhaps, I think, is thinking about it's possible that Cody might be considered doing something treasonous now, but let's see, at least suspects something from Cody, or at least just thinking of his own actions at the very least from what he's chosen, given the fact he had to give up his own squad. But either way, he doesn't act on these suspicions and goes to sleep and think about what he's done. Though he wakes up again in the cafeteria, then tries to eat, but of course he's get called back to let's see, Vice Admiral Rampant, who now has him assigned to a clone commander called CC-1226. A clone we've never seen before, but let's see, Cross ends up asking about Cody, which Rampart is confused at first, which goes to show he doesn't really shows just how much he doesn't really give a damn of the clones, the fact that he doesn't know Cody's actual name, as Ritzy Cross has to call him as CC-2224. But it's revealed that Commander Cody has gone AWOL, is defected, and they have no idea where he is. And interesting enough, Rampart seems that every clone close to Crosshair seems to leave the Empire in the end. It seems that clone loyalty isn't as tight as it is. But yeah. But yeah, as Cody but he does give Cody, let's see, Crosshair's next task, and he doesn't disobey, but he has some, let's see, thinking about what the Vice Admiral says about everyone turning against him, which seems to imply that the Vice Admiral thinks that Cody might actually, Crosshair might be treacherous himself, but who knows? Perhaps this is leading up to the actual eventual Crosshair leaving the Empire as well. We just have to wait and see. For now, he's choosing to remain loyal as he leaves, but clearly he's probably complimenting on like Cody's defection and possibly Vice Admiral Ramparton's suspicions of him and anyone associated with him. Whether or not that leads him to betray the Empire in the end, we have yet to see. But now, that is the end of the episode, as we commented by it. And blimey, what an episode it is. Star Wars fans have waited ages to find out what a Cody post-Revenge of the Sith story, and boy, did we get one. In many ways, this is probably the most Cody-focused episode that we've ever got in the Clone Wars, and now the Bad Batch. Let's see. I mean, Cody was always a pretty active clone in the Clone Wars, particularly in the early seasons. Later ones, the main focus came more to like the sort of 501st and all that stuff. Didn't get to see Cody as much, but of course he was always there. We never had one that really explored his character and all that stuff as that much. Granted, interesting enough, Cody was actually supposed to apparently back when Obi-Wan Kenobi was supposed to be a trilogy of films, if you will. Apparently, there would be a character arc for Cody that would explore to show how he transformed since Revenge of the Sith, where he would meet Kenobi and Obi-Wan in the town, where where Cody would take Obi-Wan to the town and throw a knife at the thing, but revealed that he had his chip removed and was become his secret buddy and regrets the actions that they'd done, and Kobe feeling vice versa, and he'd be tasked of looking after Luke Skywalker while he's going on this mission, and it gets a bit of a notice about how Luke's waning force powers here. The Superman apparently said when Superman lost his in Superman 2. Apparently he was supposed to be a fun character where complimenting his aging and all that stuff, so who knows. That would be interesting to see in the movie and all that stuff. And even though I like the Kenobi miniseries for the most part, it does make me feel, the more I learn about this Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy of films, I really wish that we did, of course, actually got more of the, actual, the actual films and all that stuff, because it would have been interesting, especially this Cody character. Apparently the reason he was never used was because of, perhaps maybe, my guess is Morrison's, was too busy with the Book of Boba Fett, even though he did have a cameo in the Clone Trooper armor here, which we saw, which was one of my favorite things in that show. And or they just decided the show didn't need Cody, but either way, it is a bit disappointing. Let's see. Oh, we got some comments from someone called Clips Films here saying too bad that the Man Guards, there was no Man Guards and they could have done better than the BX Commandos. Let's see. I believe you're talking about Grievous's bodyguard droid things. To be fair, those droids were always rare, and they were always more of General Grievous or Count Dooku's side, high-ranking separatists. I doubt they would ever really be with a governor. In fact, I probably wouldn't be surprised if all those droids are now shut down, unfortunately, but who knows? You never know. For all we know, they could appear in that new Jedi Survivor game, since they're bringing quite a few droids back into it, and they would be perfect opponents for, Cal Casters with lightsaber things. But anyway, so another comment from Clips Films Melbrain saying, Clone Trooper used flamethrowers to burn clankers. That should have been in the Force to place the Wookiees on non-Wookiee maps for Battlefront 2. Okay, that's interesting, but yeah. That could have been, that is actually kind of cool. I mean, it was always weird how you had the Wookiees for both the Clone Troopers and for the Republic and the, the rebellion and all that stuff. I'm not sure if there was also for the, I can't recall if it was for Resistance as well, but it's been a while since I played Battlefront 2, but yeah. I mean, granted, the Wookiees did ally with the Republic during the, Clone Wars, but yeah, I can see Clone Flamethrower. I mean, you also had, the First Order of having a Flame Trooper, so yeah, that could have worked. Anyway, but, yeah, where was I? Oh, yes, Cody being with Luke's thing, but yeah, the Bad Batch sadly didn't really. I mean, they didn't really appear in Obi-Wan. It would have been interesting to see because this is a character people wanted to see. But yeah, but it is interesting to see Cody where he does. You're keeping tabs on his clone friends and all that stuff. He heard the Bad Batch defected. He's not surprised given their personality, but he seems to figured, and he's not surprised that Crosshair's the one that remains. So I like seeing that. And also, let's see him briefly thinking about Rex is probably best friend a bit like that. And when he heard about other clones questioning the Order and all that stuff, when Crosshair's words about traitors like the Jedi, you clearly can tell that he's thinking about Commander, his old pal Obi-Wan Kenobi. And in many ways, it is a shame that the live-action Obi-Wan series never did have Cody and have those two characters reflected. But I do think it makes sense that Cody, let's see, never really truly went bad. Let's see, when the Empire defected and when the Empire thing, he betrayed Obi-Wan and all that stuff. Given the whole chip thing and all that stuff, suppose, granted, it is interesting that he did helped occupy Kashyyyk and all that stuff. From what I'm telling with the Wikipedia, I haven't really read that story and where it's from, but yeah. But I do like how he seems to got quite that Obi-Wan Kenobi character in him, trying to negotiate peace. After all, Kenobi was regarded as the negotiator, but sadly, let's see, his efforts were all for naught, and he decided to defect. Granted, we have no. Let's see. Interesting enough, Cody was also supposed to appear in a sort of Rebels episode where he was with Wolf Yarawen and all that stuff when they're trying to find out the Rebel spy and all that stuff. It is interesting how Cody has all these different ideas of what he would do, but are all being scrapped. But anyway, either of these encounters would have had him encountered probably Rex or Obi-Wan Kenobi at some point, but clearly that is not the case. And as far as we know, they've never really reunited, but for all we know, that Cody's gone AWOL, for all we know, he might actually end up meeting at least one of them, probably Rex. Probably not Obi-Wan. That point is probably gone and all that stuff, unless Obi-Wan miniseries gets a season 2. But then again, they've done everything they could probably can with Obi-Wan except meeting Cody, but I'm not sure they would really do another season just for that. But anyways, they might as well have just done Obi-Wan as an entire series or a film trilogy, but who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what they're going to do there. But yeah, so that is interesting and all that stuff. But other than that, yeah, it's in many ways this episode of The Bad Batch is probably the closest we got to like an actual Clone Wars episode. But then there's a bit of a twist here. Instead of the clones being, of course, the usual. Okay, we have here the combat here. CC1226. That's birth number was from the Legends of an Unnamed Clone. Oh, okay, so they are using some Legends things. That's nice. Easter eggs. Thank you, Clips Films. Main brain, Melbourne. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, but yeah. But this episode was pretty much like a Clone Wars episode of just which, to be argued, you could say every episode of Bad Batch could be sort of a semi-Clone Wars episode, but this one feels like the most, as you got a squad of clones infiltrating, let's say, a separatist stronghold and all that stuff. But this time, the clones are clearly the bad guys. We are clearly seeing them from the bad guy's perspective and all that stuff. So yeah, I do like how this Governor Ritzy also, earlier didn't trust. We think Dooku was right and didn't trust the clone empire, though. She clearly made a mistake of trusting Cody, though I guess she saw him as sincere. But she should have made sure that Crosshair's gun was down and all that stuff. But yeah. But we're still seeing Crosshair as a bad guy here, and it's interesting to see him post The Bad Batch, him probably thinking about what happened there, and seeing more of his fellow clones that he knows defected. I wonder if that's going to lead to his defection or if he remains loyal to the end. But I also like how this episode just shows just how scummy the Imperials are, with Groton just going like keeping back on the promises that Cody made. And Rampart just being more and more distrusting of the clones and just calling them by their code names. Overall, I think, to be honest, this is the first episode without the rest of the Bad Batch clones. The closest we got was that one in Ryloth, the first of the two-parter, where the Bad Batch only cameoed a bit, selling weapons to like the Twi'lek Resistance and all that stuff. But and they met a young Harrison Dula. But let's see. Here, you don't see them at all, and you just focus on Crosshair. In many ways, this is something that was missing from the first season. It's an episode entirely focusing on Crosshair, and boy, it was a good one, as it brought back the one clone that we know he had a relationship with, and the one everyone's been waiting to see, and we learned that he did defect from the Empire. So, yeah. Overall, I hope there are more episodes like this. At least, let's see. Granted, we'll probably be back to the Bad Batch, as the next episode's called Faster. I'm not sure what the premise is. I am just about to check the wiki page for it, and there's no preview or summary of it, so let's see, whatever that episode's going to be about, I'm not sure, but it's going to be hard to top this one because honestly, I think for this episode, it's a full 10 out of 10 for me. Honestly, everything about it was perfect. The governor and the separatist forces there, distrusting of let's see how they feel the empire and Dooku. That reference of Mina Batari, the first separatist we saw that was arguably a good guy and wanted peace, but she got killed by Dooku and Palpatine. Let's see Cody, and we see how much of Cody is still, regardless of what happened with Order 66, still very much the clone that you would expect to be trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi, the negotiator. And I like how the more time he's seen the Empire and reflecting on all those names in the clone list things, that frankly he doesn't really see that he questions it and sees the occupation, doesn't trust it, and then eventually defects. Leading more to figure out what earth happened to him later on, whether or not he ever reunited with Obi-Wan. It would be interesting if Luke Skywalker ended up actually meeting an old Commander Cody, and they meet. Luke end up here remembering Cody from a story from Obi-Wan that he betrayed him, but Cody has to explain he defected from the Empire and regrets betraying his general every day and all that stuff. And they have a talk about what happened with Obi-Wan and all that stuff. It would be interesting if that ends up happening, but we don't know. We have to wait and see what's going to happen with Cody. Before we know, he might end up being killed later off doing a defection, but it's interesting that more and more clones are defecting, and we see here, as we're probably slowly seeing all the clones being removed from the Empire's service, either by defecting or probably being killed or retired permanently. But yeah, 10 out of 10 episode. Felt like a Clone Wars, but it's like the clones were the bad guys, if you will. Overall, good episode, and that's all I have to say. For those who end up watching this review, particularly I think the user Clips Films Melbourne, thank you for your comments. Very interesting topics. I look forward to the next episode of The Bad Batch, and I hope those who were stuck in will try and do so when I review the episode next week. Hopefully it'll be on the same day. I didn't was able to do that for the first two episodes, but that's because I was a bit occupied. But yeah, now that Willow is also over with, I hope to have more time with The Bad Batch. Now, granted, I believe The Mandalorian season 3 will come in, so I'm going to have to try and manage my episodes timely. But yeah, either way, more Star Wars content, and I'm always up for it. So yeah, I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. For those, thank you for watching, and goodbye. May the Force be with you.